Peace and blessings, you all. Happy Sunday. Hopefully, it is soulful for you, it is special. And I'm wishing a happy Mother's Day to all of you who celebrate that. I honor this day with compassion and love for all of those who have mothers, who have never known their mothers, who, like me, no longer have their mothers present in this existence. And all of those unique situations that we all have with the term and the concept of mother. So, sending y'all love and hugs, and let's get on to this reading. So, just to provide a brief intro, I am using 7 different decks today. I have already shuffled them. I've actually already pulled the cards and they're sitting on top of the decks. I will be going over them one at a time, likely setting it on this pretty angel right here so that you have a clear view. But quickly, I'm going to go over the decks I'm using. So this is the Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians deck. This is the Hip Hop Queens Oracle. This is the Angel Guide Oracle. Next, we have the Beyond Lemuria deck. The Divine Beloved Change Me Prayers deck. We have the Tarot of the Divine. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have the Sacred Cycles deck. Okay, so starting with this left-hand side, we're going to start off with our Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians deck. Wow, okay, and the card that we pulled, as you can see, it showed up in the reverse. This is Imhotep, the Visionary. I'm going to read from the guidebook for this. When Imhotep appears, it's a clear indication of your visionary gifts. Your soul's intention is to create pioneering change through implementing divinely inspired ideas. There's no doubt that you've come to Earth to redesign infrastructures, stir up the pot of established protocols, and use innovative and progressive methods to evolve humanity. You're a visionary, guided by the divine to implement projects that can help, heal, and inspire our world. What do you want to improve or innovate? Maybe you're a teacher who's frustrated by the education system, or a medical professional who'd love to combine modern medicine with holistic treatments. Perhaps your passion lies in environmentalism, politics, science, or fighting prejudice and injustice. If you're passionate about what needs to evolve, then you're the one who can make a difference. Imhotep is guiding you step by step. Take it one day at a time and break the big vision down into manageable chunks. You can be a trailblazer who fuses ancient wisdom and cutting-edge technique. This is your time to change the world. Okay, so with this card having shown up in the reverse, it's something we want to pay special attention to. There's something in this message that we want to honor, that we want to reflect on, and that we do want to cherish. Not that we don't want to do that with the messages in the upright, but perhaps this is a message where you may need a little more encouragement, a little more guidance, or just to go deeper within yourself with it, right? So something key that was mentioned here is taking it one day at a time and breaking your vision down into manageable chunks. So many of us have big visions and they're bright and they're glorious, and when we mention them to others sometimes, there can be resistance. There can be this idea of, oh, that's too much, you're doing too much, or how can you achieve all of that? And we do get bogged down from that energy, from those words sometimes. This is a call that if that is something that you're dealing with, this is a call to really check in with what it is you want for your life. How can you create a better environment, a better world for yourself on a daily basis? And what does your life look like for you in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? What would you like it to look like? And then from there, how can you break that down into manageable goals, manageable steps, bits of your lifestyle that allow you to eventually achieve that? Because every day, every little bit of progress that we make truly does count. So I want to remind you of that. It's easy to be your own biggest critic and harder to acknowledge the visionary aspect of ourselves sometimes. So this guidance book also provides an incantation or affirmation, so I will share that with you. My mind is in touch with divine ideas. My visions create a better world. And that's another thing, sometimes we have all these ideas floating in our head and we dismiss them as something normal, as something mundane, as something that's not going to have an impact. And really, we don't know the power of our stories or our ideas until we start to conceptualize them, start to actualize them, or start to share them with others. Okay, thank you for that, Spirit. So the next card that we have up is coming from the Hip Hop Queens Oracle deck, and we've got Nicki Minaj, Leadership. Okay, so I'm just going to set that there. Oh. Now, when I think of Nicki Minaj, I think of when she first came out and just how vivid and unapologetic she was. And I believe this guidebook touches a bit on that. So, when Nicki Minaj entered the scene in 2008, she broke a 10-year dry spell where the landscape of hip-hop was practically bare of new women's voices. And she did so with unapologetic fortitude and unabashed freedom, breaking open space for many other dynamic women to enter the rap scene after Nicki herself locked the crown for a decade. Often known as Barbie, she's built her own dream house in hip-hop, balancing street-leaning cuts like Did It On 'Em with chart-topping smashes like Starships. Nicki sits at a vantage point that most rappers beg to reside in. She has commercial appeal and is certified gangster. All that and a Chanel bag with a pink wig. The Nicki Minaj card is calling you to lead the way. You may be used to taking the cues from someone else, but what happens when there's no one to report to? You can't always rely on second and third opinions when choosing certain walks in life. This time, it's all you and your gut instinct. Be like Barb's and take charge. Let experience be your compass. Some may challenge your steps forward, but guess what? You're not here to please them. March to the beat of your own super bass and keep believing that you will get the job done. Beautiful. Yes, that vibrant pink hair is definitely something very memorable and signature of Nicki Minaj. And I must say, as someone who recently had my hair pink, pretty bright pink, until just maybe a little over a week ago, I was feeling pretty vivid, um, loved and loving, and just myself. I was kind of feeling like a flamingo. um, but I also would like to challenge you to think of the word leadership and what it means to you to be a leader, because we all have these different definitions and you don't want to necessarily go by a textbook. So, what does it mean for you to be a leader? How do you show your leadership skills? How do you honor that within yourself? Because at the end of the day, we all have the potential to be leaders. It's just in our choosing and in our actions, right? Actually, I had the opportunity to hear Nikki Giovanni speak yesterday. And one of the things that she said is that when it comes to being a leader, what she learned is that if you can truly be there for someone genuinely, then you are a leader. And that's not something that you hear from people so much, right? So if you needed a message about honoring the leadership in you and knowing that you possess that ability to step out and lead others or be there for others, be a light for others simply by being your genuine self, and there you go. All right. So our next card is the Opportunity and Change card. And this is coming from the Angel Guide Oracle. Hopefully you can see this. By the way, if you guys are curious about this beautiful candle I have burning here, this is from Loaded Lotus Candles. This is a candle from a beautiful soul that I have the pleasure of knowing and having worked with before. And yeah, I've been getting a good burn off of this candle for a while. As you can see on here, it is rose, lavender, and bergamot. She allowed me to pick my own custom scents. So yeah, if you are ever interested in purchasing candles from a beautiful upcoming small business, then check her out on Instagram. Okay, so getting back to this card, Opportunity and Change, right? Well, obviously, we all have the opportunity to change, and change is the most constant thing in this universe. Now, how we flow, how we adapt, and how we allow change in our lives is a whole other thing. But taking a moment to recognize, to be present with your life and to realize there is potential for change, that's a start in itself. Now, the message I'm going to read from this guidebook, I'm just going to take a second and read the extended message to sum it up a bit. And it says this: you are in a time of change and opportunity. Whether this involves a new role, career, opportunity, relationship, child, or project, know that it is blessed by God and angels, or whatever you honor, the space in the universe, the Most High, whatever terms you'd like to use. This is an exciting time, and if you have apprehensions, know that this card is reassuring you that you are being supported by the divine. If you ask angels to lead the way, you will be guided by signs, intuition, and instinct. Move forward fearlessly, as this is a blessed time for you. And this ties back to the last card we just had with Nicki Minaj about leadership, about being yourself, about stepping out there, right? And it's only when we are present that we can see the signs that are around us, because there are signs all the damn time, right? But if you're not alert, if you're too bogged down and, drowning in the sadness and sorrows of the world, which can be a very easy thing to do, then you don't see the blessings that are right in front of you. So here's a call for you to do just that. All right. Now, this next deck right here is this beautiful Beyond Lemuria deck. A mentor of mine who is well versed in the angels, she used this deck before on her lives, and I just had to get the deck once I saw some of the art. It is definitely a muse deck for me. I am currently actually creating some art that's inspired by my connection to the images in this deck. And the card that we've got today is the Full Spectrum card. Take on all of that beauty. Okay. Now, when I hear the terms full spectrum, the first thing that I think of is we are all multifaceted. We are all composed of many different energies, and different emotions come up, and we must learn to honor them all, because that is a part of this human experience, right? And if you are striving, working on one aspect of your life, but another aspect of your life is being neglected, you have that lack of balance, and you can usually sense that imbalance in your chakras, or it shows up for you, and it kind of nullifies or takes away from those other aspects that you're working on. Or rather, because integration is not there, then at least me personally, I don't feel as balanced. I am still getting used to this deck. Actually, it's very, very magical, and there's so much insight just in this guidebook as well. And one beautiful thing about a lot of these decks I have on this table right now is that the guidebooks that come with them are truly valuable. So I do enjoy taking time to read different things from the guidebook while also honoring my own interpretation. And 26, when we're thinking in terms of numerology, we would add that up to 8, and 8 is a power number. 8 is also a number associated with individuality, and it's when we know ourselves and all those pieces of ourselves and love them that we can truly know and experience others for who and what they are. This card is actually about creating heaven on earth by honoring the perfection of nature's cycles. Connecting to ancestors, connecting to the earth. Okay, so there's quite a bit in here, but just bear with me. What does heaven on earth look like for you? Do you imagine lush green nature, ancient forests, pristine beaches, crystalline water systems, and all the planet's residences in full health, living in harmony with each other? And yet, nature in its purest, rawest form is a balance of life and death, growth and decomposition, the eaters and the eaten. In one way or another, this is the natural flux of life. We already live in Eden, but our efforts to own and segregate bring us further away from this paradigm. So true. Unity consciousness is very much a thing that we all should be striving for, and unfortunately that's not the case, but we can hold out hope. Power trips, the need for imagined security, fear, or avoidance of the shadow keep us out of our freedom. Yes, some of y'all need to do y'all shadow work. The need to preserve and hold on tightly only stunts our growth and leaves us drowning in a sea of plastic. The real disease on earth, the barrier to Eden, is in our minds. Life happens, but it is our perception of good and bad and our black and white judgments that prevent us from seeing the grander truth. When duality becomes one, we will find Shambhala before us. Perhaps we can find inspiration from nature and the animal kingdom. Does the tiny frog spend its days anxious over its vulnerable future? What happens when we realize fertile compost greets us, when we allow ourselves to transmute our pain? When we honor all that came before, our roots are nourished and we grow with more vitality, vibrancy, and life force. We can anchor more light for the collective and in turn seed new growth. What happens when we realize the keys to our future are in the wisdom of the earth and the dreamings of the indigenous? That the answers are in the geometry of the macro and microcosm, the nurturing embrace of oneness in Mama Nature's arms. What happens when we find peace within the full spectrum of life? Even the notion of separation, this dis-ease, can be symbolized as no more than a blackened leaf on a healthy tree. The ebb and flow of our evolution and devolution is a temporary blip in the universe. The message is to be what we can, to ground heaven on earth, but not out of fear. We often try to avoid or run from negative situations, but when fear steers our decisions and actions, far more devastation can result. When we choose to let our hearts lead us away from stories and outdated patterns, our challenges become the fertile compost that feeds our ascending tendrils as they reach to the heavens and ground its light back on earth. Step out of the black and white mentality of judgment. Wow. Honestly, I think the guidebook said all that needs to be said. Really. Really. Look at how beautifully the concept of heaven and earth and the connection is illustrated on this card. Like, it's so easy with all of the agendas out there to forget that we all come from the same source. At the end of the day, we're all connected to the stars. We're all made of star stuff, so embrace the magic that is you, the totality of it. Ooh. So let me show y'all the back of this deck before I show you the card. This always gives me like Lisa Frank vibes, right? So this is the Divine Beloved Change Me Prayers deck by Tosha Silver. And this does not come with a guidebook. Frankly, it's not needed. And this deck is also a bit of a muse deck for me in terms of the art. I would say a lot of the decks I have are muse decks. Okay, so before I show you the card, I'm going to read it. It says centered. I hold my center. Change me, divine beloved, into one who holds my center in all situations, no matter how challenging. Fill me with serenity and calm. Wrap me in your faith. Grounding, 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 and connecting to our internal world is so important. Breath is so important, and being conscious of your breath. You ever have those moments where, like, you take a deep breath, you have that deep exhale, and then you realize that you haven't been properly breathing the last few minutes, as if you've just been like holding your breath? I've had those moments before, and I've realized that when that's happening, it's usually the times when I'm not being present, when I'm not so centered, not grounded, not clear. But when I am clear, when I am centered, it's like, wow, I really know thyself, right? I really know me. I'm back home. I know what's for me, and I can move through life's changes with more ease, letting go of more. I also decided today to pull a tarot card. I am not as well versed in the tarot as I am in the oracle cards, or even in the cards of destiny, or, you know, the playing cards associated with cardology. But it is an area in which I'm developing and that I have an interest in. So this is the Tarot of the Divine, and what I really enjoy about the Tarot of the Divine is that these cards are all based on folklore. So the card that I pulled today is the Fool. And the Fool is actually card number 0. It's part of the major arcana. And this particular card is inspired by the Little Mermaid, specifically from Denmark. It's the Danish fairy tale version. It reads here, the fool rests on the pinnacle of a decision. She is ready to dive out of her subconscious and into the physical world, to transform from an animal into a human. She is carefree and excited by a new life regardless of warnings. Some people see the term the fool and have a negative association with that, right? But because when you think about it, like, especially from a place of judgment, normally it's like someone who's observing another. They have learned about a decision that that person has made, and they're like, oh, that fool, like, they need to get their life together, right? But the Fool, especially in an upright position, is actually a really empowering card. The Fool lets us know that we have choice, that we should listen to ourselves, to our own desires, not to those outside of us, and to really consider the options that we have, and simply to take a step forward fearlessly, unapologetically. And I mean, when you think of the Little Mermaid, for example, right? Whether it's the Danish fairy tale or the American remake, you know, the mermaid fearlessly made a decision to become a human, to seek out this love that she found, to embrace adventure. And no matter what judgment she was getting from, you know, the sea, from all that was familiar to her, from her family, and those who loved her, she acted based on what she wanted to do. So it's just a reminder that we have the chance to create a new beginning for ourselves in any moment, and to honor your free spirited nature. Yeah, this can also be tied to impulsiveness, but how many of us have made impulsive decisions which turned out to be a blessing, even if we didn't realize it until later on? So, this is just a bit of encouragement. There's something that's been on your mind, a decision you've been wrestling with. Go inward, listen, and honor your intuition, and step out on that shit. All right. Now, this deck, y'all, the Sacred Cycles deck, is one of my absolute favorites. Let me show you the cover. The cover of the box does not even do it justice. And also, this I will not be reading from a guidebook for this, because one, I just love this deck so much and find it fun to read without any kind of guidance. And two, my guidebook up and grew legs and walked away some point, maybe about a month ago. So couldn't read it if I wanted to. I have no idea where it's at. But the card that came out is Birth, number 29. Let me look at this for a moment. I love these cards. I really do. They really honor the magic of the divine feminine and our connection to earth, and just how sacred our portals are, our creativity, and they're a real like celebration. You know, they really do provide some reflection and insight into what makes us so magical. So this card is Birth, and if you notice, she has a flower that she's birthing on here, right? Symbolizing new life, symbolizing the culmination of something that has been growing within her and is now ready to take on its own life, right? To take on its own kind of energetic field. Also, 29 reduces to 11, the master number, which can also be further reduced to 2. And I mean, in the physical, at least for those of us who are human, right? It kind of takes 2 in order to birth, right? In order to create life. And even in a spiritual sense, when we are creating things, there's a relationship that's taking place, in the sense that you're working with your higher self, you're working with spirit, you're working with some energy outside of yourself, as well as the energy inside yourself, to bring something forward. And birth is simply about creating and even having a vision, a goal, and then manifesting it and actually coming into fruition. And you know, some of these cards that I've been pulling it's been really cool to see that they do also have a tie to, Mother's Day, to the mother, to the divine feminine, and so forth. Especially this one. No matter, what your relationship is with your mother, I pray that you are at least in gratitude for the fact that you were birthed, that you exist in this time now, and mother or no mother, you can nurture yourself, pour into yourself with unconditional love, and that you can manifest and bring your ideas to life. So, honestly, that's really all I have to say with this card. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. Let me see if there's. Yeah, I do need y'all to, like, if you don't have this deck, I need y'all to get it though, especially if you're really interested in like moon cycles or the divine feminine. I just want to show a couple of cards. And I love that a lot of these cards are showing, like, what some would say women of color, or specifically for me, I'm going to say Black women. I love, love, love to see the representation. I love to see the tie to nature. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it on this note. I hope that you were able to glean something from these Sunday messages today. Whether you are celebrating Mother's Day or not, may you honor the divine feminine principle within yourself, the creator within yourself, the magic that you are. That's all I have for you.